so happy to have you with us celebrating Black culture in our communities. I'm Crystal Brown, a co-chair and a co-host alongside of Ambassador Susan Johnson Cook, as well as Maria Di Longorio. I really would like to introduce our host. She is an ambassador. She is a public speaker. She's a reverend. She has her PhD, or I should say her doctorate in divinity. And she's a community member, and she is what we like to call the Oprah of the East End. And so if you could put your hands together and welcome our host, Ambassador Sujay.
Thank you, Crystal, my co-chair. Let's give it up for Crystal. And we're going to invite our first guest. So we're so happy to have all of you today. First guest, first segment, we have Ardith Hill. We have the brothers and Lorraine Farrow Brandon. Won't you join me on stage? Let's greet them. We're a family tonight. Let's greet them as they come to the stage tonight. Oh, come on. We could do a little better than that. Ardith Hill. Hello there. Michael and Martin Butler and Lorraine Farrow Brandon. We're family tonight, and we welcome you to the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce fundraiser. We are the only chamber out of all of the chambers that solely focuses on Black women business owners. So we were founded during COVID, when many people were pivoting and starting businesses, and out of all the businesses in America, 46% of those that are started by Black women. So we thank you for your support tonight. Welcome, family. How are you? So good to see you, and we thank you for your pictures. We've seen your pictures go across the screen. Maybe we can do those one more time. But you are generations. Tonight is about generations and conversations and celebrations of who we are as a people. So Ardith, I'm going to start with you, Ardith Hill. We have many pictures of you. You've been on magazines. You've been on the beach. Tell us who you are, what section of Sag Harbor that you live in, and who you are.
I live in what is called, what is it called now? Hillcrest Terrace, okay? There was a sign there, but it's gone. I basically grew up in Sag Harbor Hills.
Okay.
My Aunt Ray and Uncle Mark had a home in Sag Harbor Hills, and that's where I spent my teenage years.
And now your grandchildren are here tonight.
Yes, my grandchildren are here.
Let's give a shout out for the family, all right? Okay. Well, we're so happy to have you. And the Butlers.
I am Michael Butler.
Yes.
Most people know me here as an artist, and my family's been here for, well, all told, 7 generations. That's 3 above, 3 below.
Wow.
I'm in the middle, starting in about 1922.
My goodness.
So I grew up somewhere here, as a lot of us folks here did as well, and it's home. It's where I am based.
And what kind of artist are you?
I define it as narrative folk art.
Narrative folk art.
Yeah, they all tell a story, more documentary in nature. I've gotten more so into the local history of people who have untold stories.
Yes.
I want to bring those images forth.
Well, we want to work with you and continue. That's why we do this, to archive and tell our stories. So thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Lorraine, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thanks. I'm Lorraine Farrow Brandon, great-great-grandniece to Stephen Talkhouse Farrow. My family are the indigenous peoples to Montauk.
Wow.
Yeah, and my family was pushed off of their land on Montauk, and my father and his siblings were all grew up on Eastville, and that's how they landed on Eastville.
Okay.
And they were all born in that house that they still there in the Farrow name on Eastville and Bay Street.
Well, thank your family. And you know, when they say Christopher Columbus discovered, you were already here. All right. So, so we thank you that we've discovered that you are here. Thank you so much for coming. And our brother.
Yes, I'm Martin Butler. Greetings, everybody. I'm the twin of Michael Butler. We might repeat some of our stories today, but I hope you understand. Like Michael said, our family started in 1922 with a great-great-uncle who was a band leader, popular in Brooklyn. My mother's family came out in 1930, and my great-uncle's cabin cruiser, 44-foot cabin cruiser. And late in the 30s, he started buying property. Some of it, I think, distressed sales, tax sales, and outright purchases. And he had been very involved in Brooklyn, had a little to do during the Harlem Renaissance. And I'm just glad that he landed us here because it's been a long time coming and a lot of work to keep it going.
Wow. So we always ask, are you hopeful? I mean, you've been here through generations. Are you hopeful about our future, about our present, and about our future here at what we call Sands or historic Black beachfront community? Are you hopeful about our future?
I'm very hopeful. My grandchildren are here with me now. My daughter has a home here, she and her husband, and I have a home, and my other daughter is with me, and all of our closest friends are basically here in Sag Harbor. So
So it's
to
hope.
us, it's an extended family. It really is. When we called each other aunt and uncle,
Yes.
people, think, well, are you really related? Yeah, we are.
We
sort
are
of.
really
Yes,
related.
we
exactly.
are.
And you look
So,
lovely tonight.
thank
That
you.
yellow is
Thank you.
popping. I love
Thank
it.
you.
All right. Are you hopeful?
I may be the pessimist in the group. I'm not hopeful.
Why not?
I think I often say to my brother and other people, I say 2 to 3 more generations, there may not be a Black presence in Sag Harbor at all. It's just a method of dominoes. One house after the other turns over. The Black community cannot afford to buy. We don't have that level of income. Even with our prominent people here, Sag Harbor kind of grew word of mouth, sororities, fraternities, relationships, and I kind of feel that a lot of that is fraying away at the edges.
Well, let me ask your brother, because sometimes dominoes fall off the table and they have to come the other way again. So let me ask you, are you hopeful?
I am much more hopeful than my brother. I always tell him, do not let the changes bother you. The benefit of having been here for a century and heard family stories, is that you learn to adjust to the changes. When we were little, the Black community was much smaller than it is now. If we can keep building on what we have now, I think we'll be okay.
Hey, Lorraine, what about yourself?
Well, when I think of my own family, am I hopeful? We've been fighting for recognition from the state for decades. For the second time since Governor Hochul is in office, there's a bill that's on her desk. She vetoed it before. And am I hopeful that it will pass?
So I always ask this question, how can we be supportive? Because we don't know necessarily when the bill hits her table, but tell us what the bill is if you know the name of it.
Well, we're asking for state recognition, which is usually not a good thing when you're asking the people that conquered you.
Right. So
For
please let us
recognition.
back in, right?
Exactly. So I will let you know right now, this round is already on her desk.
Okay.
But I'd be happy to share when I have
Because
a
they
new
want to be
petition.
reelected, so there's always a possibility of some solutions.
Yes,
in
and
the
we
midst
were
of it.
hopeful with the Obama administration.
Okay,
That maybe something would happen.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, some memories. We saw some wonderful pictures. You were hot in that magazine, and all of that. Tell us one of your most memorable times growing up. You're twins, by the
Yes,
way, right?
yes,
Okay. So tell us one of your most memorable times.
I have to break it down according to the age, the stage of life I was at as a child. I liked going to the beach. I liked walking through the woods. I liked picking the blueberries and the peaches out of the orchards. When adolescence came, I liked going to the parties in Sands. Those
yeah.
parties are popping. I
Yeah,
tell
they
you.
were.
And everything happened. When I say everything happened. As an adult, I like being involved in the arts community. I like working with the Eastfield Community Historic Society, CCC. My brother and I were co-founders of the Onyx Group to get more art out there for underrepresented artists, mainly of color. And working with the history of the community. I love these talks. I love research. I'm always on Ancestry.com or newspapers.com and finding out what's going on, what happened way back when, and where did we come from.
So tell us a little bit about Onyx. Is that still in existence?
Oh no, that was a very short-lived group of African-American artists. And we had several exhibits down on Bay Street, across from the post office with, and it was, but I think it was the gallerists themselves that basically kind of tore things apart. But we had set out to be a group of mainly Black artists, and as people of color as well. I think Michi Itami, who's Japanese, and Maria Pacino, who's Cuban. So it was a group of people, and we had several exhibits throughout the East End.
So can we find your work currently somewhere place?
I just had an exhibit at Ma's house on the reservation. I just came down the other day. I will be having an opening at Julie Key's Gallery next Saturday at 5:30, I believe.
Wonderful.
On
Do you
Main
have a
Street in
website where
Sag
we can
Harbor.
find you?
I do not have a website.
Okay,
I'm not
well,
on
we're
any
going to get
social
that
media.
That's going to be new
nothing.
history. What's a memorable moment for you?
In Sag Harbor,
Yes.
for growing up in Sag Harbor, just being a kid when it used to snow really heavily, and the snowball fights, there used to be so many kids in the neighborhood, like in a very small radius of maybe a block. We probably had about 13 kids, and the kids would just come out. Once the snow stopped, it would just be a lot of fun. Yeah.
And I know you had some fun.
Oh,
Artist. Tell
yes.
us some of your memorable moments.
My best memories, I guess, were my teenage years here. My cousin Mark, Butch, as people know him, was in the house, and so we always had a lot of boys there. I was in heaven. I had all these boys who came to stay with my cousin. But when we got ready to do things, I can remember walking to the movie theater downtown, you know, in this wonderful large group. We'd go down to the movie theater, we'd walk around town, we'd go to the carnival. Those are just some of my best memories from those years. And then as a young mother here, my girls, we were on the beach all summer, and my girls had this wonderful friendship with Gail and Linda and Lisa. I mean, they were just a wonderful group of women and children, and they did all sorts of things together, and it was wonderful. The kids had park school. There was a wonderful park school here that they went to free of charge.
That's awesome.
They
And we
did
see many pictures
gymnastics here.
Yeah,
so.
many pictures of you on the beach.
Yes.
Last year, Virginia Arrington said that you now are called the potatoes.
We call the beach potatoes.
Oh, the beach
The
potatoes.
beach potatoes,
Okay.
because during the time when people became couch potatoes,
Okay.
they started laughing. They were saying, "Oh, your mother's sitting down there. You're now the beach potatoes."
Yeah.
So we became the beach potatoes, and we, in the afternoon, sometimes would have a bottle of white wine that would come
Really?
out,
Okay.
and Pam would know, and love, and
Wine gets
Lay's
around.
potato chips. So those are the things that kind of made it fun for all of us.
We're excited to have you. So I'm just going to ask you quickly, A plus B plus C equals success. What's your A, B, and C? And we have like 1 minute to do it, like popcorn.
Well, my A is.
Hold your mic up.
Say it again?
Your mic.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my A is, I think, family background. B is my belief in God.
Okay.
Yeah, and C would be my hope for the future.
I love it. Okay. A, B, C.
Family, relationships, my community around me, and doing right by everybody that you meet. Just treat everybody well.
I love that. Kindness, yes. A, B, C.
Well, even though I'm a pessimist, I still think that Sag Harbor represents the epitome of Black success, Black heritage, Black legacy, and it's a very rare thing that we have going here. We've got to keep it alive.
I love that. In order to please your final word.
The same things that they said, I just have a little extra. Martin and Michael's sister, Peggy, was
Yes.
a good friend of mine also. We went to camp together.
Wow.
And I was just telling them, they didn't know that. So just, those are some of the things that just bind us, and hopefully we can continue being bound together. All
I
right?
love it. So thank you for being part of
Thank
our
you.
history, our
Thank
legacy,
you.
our
Thank you so much.
conversation. You are success. You are so important to us, and we thank you. Won't you join me in thanking this wonderful, wonderful panel? Martin, Michael, Lorraine, and Artist. Thank you so much for joining us. One of the biggest applauses last year when we did the first celebration was when I called the 3 presidents of our communities down. We have Steve Williams, the president of Azure Rest. Come on, give it up. How many Azure Resters in the house? And Lisa Stinson, the president of Sag Harbor Hills Improvement Association. How many Sag Harbor Hillsites are in here? And then we have Errol Taylor. Come on, somebody. The Nineveh Beach Improvement. I think y'all have little fan clubs in here. So let me thank you for your leadership. We had a show, and their show is on YouTube and on the LTV website, where we did a full half hour learning the history of who you are, who you're representing. Steve, I think you have the longest history here in terms of family. So bring us up to date. Why do you do what you do? You've lived here, and now you're leading here. Why do you do what you do?
Well, we were left with quite a legacy. We were left with really a community that was created around our needs. It wasn't economically based, it was family based, it was the basic seeds of forming a village. And that continues now. And you heard Ardith and everybody talk about the relationships and the friends and the families. That continues. They were lucky they were all post-war babies, so there were a lot of kids around the same age.
Yeah.
Not quite as organized now and structurally, socially, but the roots run very deep.
So legacy is important to you. We have two lawyers in the group. You have plenty of work on your own. Why do you do what you do, Errol, Taylor?
In some ways, I want to echo what Steve said, but add to it a little bit. In the previous panel, we heard a lot of discussion about change and how our community is evolving. One of the things that I feel is part of my mission as I attempt to lead Nineveh through this transition is to manage, control, organize, and effect that change in a way that we preserve this, right? Where we have this incredible closeness, culture, respect for our heritage. And, in time today, when we're seeing, the evolution of our communities, and I, for one, am very hopeful about the future. I think that one of my charges as I lead Nineveh at this point is to manage that change.
I love it. And you've been here for generations. You walk with elegance, grace, and you still lead. And I thank you for your leadership and your friendship. Why are you here? Why are you still doing this? It's second or third term as president. Why are you doing this?
Yes. First of all, thank you so much, Ambassador Sujay, for inviting Steve, Errol, and I to participate in this evening's event. And yes, I echo what both Steve and Errol have stated. My family bought their home in 1973. So literally grew up with Ardith's children and Maria de Longoria and Linda and Gail Arrington. Stayed at the Arrington home before my mother and grandmother purchased the home in 1973. And I'm just so passionate about the cherished memories, experience, blessed summers that we have enjoyed ever since, and which began with the first families in Sag Harbor Hills. And I had an opportunity to speak with Barbara North and Candy Morris and Beverly Granger. They were among the first group of children of about 12 or so families in Sag Harbor Hills that enjoyed summers from June to September straight. And our community was summer camp.
Okay. Yes, yes. And a lot of families, I understand, the parents would, the fathers particularly would still work in the city, and the mothers would make sure they came out with the children. So your children, our children have been raised together. What are your dreams for them in terms of Sag Harbor? Your generation, you're a third generationer, is that correct? What are your dreams for your son and for your future, our future?
Well, thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
Listen, he cherishes Sag Harbor. He's an adult, but he grew up here. He has all the memories of being on the beach, and when he was an infant, I used to stand in the water and throw him up in the air and that sort of thing, and he remembers that. He wrote about it when he was in grade school and in English class about the fact that he was too big for me to throw him up in the air anymore. So it's one of those things where there's no price on the sort of memories.
Right.
But they are generated because we are safe in our communities.
Yes,
We
that's a
feel
great
very
word.
safe.
Very safe.
And we look out for each other. And, Jane Jacobs was a urbanologist, and she said people who sit on the stoops keep the crime down, keep neighborhoods going. They know who's not supposed to be there. We have worked to keep our front yards open so that
Yes.
people can see each other, talk to each other as they stroll by. Those are all things that are subtle but reinforcing in the community.
I love it.
And I hope that continues.
And I hope so also. I mean, the thing that was striking for me, because I'm a newbie as well, is the intergenerational activities. And so kind of you're known for Sag Harbor Hills is known for the races and the big dinner that's going to happen July 4th weekend and all of the things that happen there. Azure Rest is the tent party on Labor Day weekend is the big thing. And Errol, Nineveh, you've started honoring legacy, the living legends. So tell us how you got that idea. Last year was the Dr.
Dr.
D's.
D's was
yeah.
honored.
How'd you get the idea that we wanted to do these living legends?
Well, it comes from a couple of places, and it echoes on what I said earlier. I mean, I think it's important for us to keep the memory going of who we are, who are the visionaries that actually founded our communities and are responsible for laying the groundwork, not only physically but culturally.
Yeah.
Of what we have today. And, I saw that, as time goes on, people that we wanted to honor were aging, right? And so not only did we want to honor them, we wanted them to be able to share their stories to our community, our new and changing community, so they get a understanding and we get a reminder
Of the roots.
of the roots,
Exactly.
right? And picking up this idea about, the intergenerational changes. One thing I think we have to manage is not only the changes that come from, what I'll call ethnic and racial change in our neighborhood. Our younger generation can also change our community, our kids and grandkids, if we're not careful about imbuing them with the things and importance of our community. I'm blessed that my kids love Sag Harbor. They're here. Some of their best friends are friends that they made in Sag Harbor. And I think that's an important thing for us to kind of focus on as well as we seek to make sure that we maintain as much of this culturally as we go forward.
So Lisa, your community is getting ready to celebrate your 75th. Is that Sag Harbor Hills, correct?
Yes, and in fact, earlier today, our Sag Harbor Hills residents gathered on the beach
Yes.
to have a Sag Harbor Hills resident photo
Yes.
to capture who Sag Harbor Hills is today. And that photo will be the centerfold of a commemorative coffee table book
I love it.
that we are creating for our 75th anniversary next year. And Pam Pickens, whose family were among the first
Yes.
in Sag Harbor Hills, is leading that effort along with Robin Duncan Brooks, as well as Alyssa Jenkins Perez.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be taking some pictures soon, too, as yours. But part of why we're doing this is because we want to capture the history. Coffee table books, what you're doing honoring living legends, what we did with the film for our 75th, but that we capture who we are and whose we are, who made us, who helped us with our roots. So what's your most favorable memory that's here as we're wrapping this segment up? Give us your favorite memory, childhood or adulthood.
When you grow up in New York City, you're kind of confined. And when I came down here and I had my cousins and other friends, we get on the bicycles and we were free, right? We got in trouble for going to the ocean and to other things, but we were free. Those bikes were like our Cadillacs, and we would, investigate nature. We'd investigate things downtown. We would just learn on our own.
Yeah.
And together.
Great. And now we're getting some of us on the trustee boards and the different committee and commissions, which is important. So we thank you for that. Tell us your favorite memory. And your mother was part of us last year, so tell us your favorite memory.
Yes, she was. So as it's been mentioned, the beauty of Sag Harbor are the generational friendships that spend time here in our community, in our historically Black beachfront community, Azure Rest, Sag Harbor Hills, and Nineveh Beach. And we're still, my crew is still creating lifelong memories. And in fact, during Memorial Day weekend, we gathered for lunch at Barron's Cove.
Yes.
And we realized it had been 15 years since our last luncheon
Wow.
together. And we're intentional about getting together more frequently. We do casually on the beach.
Sure.
But we're, as we're middle-aged, you know, we appreciate the importance of sustaining our friendships and being together whenever we can, especially in the summertime.
Exactly. Middle age and up. There's seasons. And the body starts telling you there's seasons of life. We used to be a potato butt and we could sit on the beach, and now we barely can get up. But that's all right. We still like the sunshine, and you look lovely tonight. What is your favorite memory? One of yours.
One of mine, you know, I'm going to say that it's the spontaneity of enjoyment and camaraderie and friendship that you can have in Sag Harbor, in our communities, where on any given day or any given night, you can, you know, a party can break out.
Exactly.
Right?
Or somebody can pop into
somebody
your
can
house.
pop in.
Yeah.
And, you know, that is so different than, you know, where I live full-time, right? Where
We
that
understand,
That
exactly.
doesn't happen, you know. And of course, there's the joy of watching my children,
I love it.
okay?
I love
And to have been so blessed to have watched them grow up in this community has just been heavenly.
They're
Thank you.
awesome. 1 minute, give us in 20 seconds. A plus B plus C equals success.
I was hoping you weren't going to quiz us.
I
on
know,
that.
I know. You know, I was a school teacher for a minute.
A is community, a community controlled by the people who live there.
B,
B is interaction and loyalty and love for each other,
and C.
being sustained.
I love it. A, B, C.
For me, it's God and faith, as well as supportive family, as well as cherished friendships
I love it.
and our community.
Great formula. And thank you for letting me pop in every now and then to your house. A, B, and C.
Character, family, commitment.
Wow. All three of you are going to be honored at Harlem in the Hamptons, I understand. But we honor you tonight. We honor you for your leadership. We honor you for your friendship. Thank you for leading us and leading the way. It's been a joy to have you tonight. Won't you help me celebrate our leaders, our presidents, Steve Williams, President of Azurest, Lisa, and Errol. Nineveh, Sag Harbor Hills, thank you so much for being with us. My joy. And you're listening